The African sun hung low over the Angolan savannah, its golden light filtering through scattered acacia trees, casting long shadows across the dusty earth. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, had always felt Africa's pull, a continent where the weight of royal duty seemed to dissolve into the vast, untamed wilderness. In July 2025, he arrived in Angola alone, driven by a mission to honor his late mother, Princess Diana, through the Halo Trust's landmine clearance work. Meghan, his wife, remained in Montecito with their children, Archie and Lilibet, a decision rooted in Harry's protective instincts, honed by years of navigating threats both real and imagined. What was meant to be a brief, poignant trip spiraled into a 3-day mystery that plunged the royal family into chaos and set the global media ablaze. Harry's first day in Angola was a triumph. In Luanda, he met President João Lourenço, his passion for the cause evident in every measured word. The president, a reserved man, nodded approvingly as Harry spoke of the need to clear landmines that still haunted Angola's countryside, a legacy of its brutal civil war. Later, photographers led him through a cleared minefield in Huambo, his samba gait echoing Diana's iconic 1997 walk. The images, splashed across #S news outlets #worldwide, were a powerful nod to her legacy. Buckingham Palace, despite #T years of fractured ties with Harry, issued a restrained statement of support, careful not to reignite old tensions. To the world, Harry was a prince in his element, far from the tabloid storms of London and Mo #Ntesito. On the second day, Harry set out for a remote demining camp deep in Huambo's rugged terrain, a place where the earth itself seemed to hold its breath, wary of buried explosives. He insisted on a lean entourage, just a 3-man security detail and Kofi, a wiry local guide whose knowledge of the land was unmatched. The plan was straightforward: inspect the camp, meet the workers, and return to Luanda by dusk. Harry was in high-spiry TS, joking with Kofi about the heat as their jeep rattled along the uneven tracks. But as night fell over the capital, the jeep didn't return. Harry's satellite phone went silent, its signal lost in the vastness of the bush. The camp reported no sign of him. By midnight, panic rippled through the Halo Trust's headquarters, and a terse call reached Buckingham Palace. In London, King Charles paced his private study, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. The rift with Harry had never fully healed. Years of public spats and #Rivate wounds had left scars, but the thought of his son lost in a landmine #ridden region was a torment Charles couldn't bear. Prince William, someone from Kensington Palace, stood by the window, his jaw #ite. He's always been reckless, he moo #tared, though his voice cracked with worry. The royal communications team scrambled to keep the situation under wraps, but the British press, ever ravenous, caught wind of a crisis. By morning, headlines screamed of a missing prince, with tabloids speculating everything from kidnapping to a deliberate disappearance. In Angola, Kofi and the security team were frantic. They'd last seen Harry at the camp's EDGE, where he'd wandered off to play soccer with a group of local children, their laughter ringing through the dusty air. He'd been drawn to their stories, crouching down to listen as they spoke of their 6 #large, hidden deeper in the bush, where families lived in fear of landmines. When Kofi turned to check on him moments later, Harry was gone. The dense UN #growth and fading light made the search nearly impossible, and the ever-present threat of unexploded ordnance turned every step into a gamble. The Halo Trust deployed additional teams, and Angola's military scrambled hell #icopters to sweep the area, their rotors slicing through the dawn. In Montecito, Meghan was a fortress of resolve and fear. She fielded calls from a #Ides, while shielding Archie and Lilibet from the growing media storm. Social media erupted with speculation. Had Harry been taken by rebels? Was this a stunt to escape the pressures of his fractured royal life? Or had he fallen victim to the very landmines he'd come to eradicate? The hashtag #WhereIsHarry trended globally, fueled by tabloid headlines screaming of a royal family in disarray. Commentators like Tom Bow piled on, alleging Meghan's absence had left Harry vulnerable, while others whispered that Harry's trip was a reckless bid to outshine his brother's more restrained charity work. Unbeknownst to the world, Harry was alive, though far from safe. Drawn by the children's tales of their village, he'd ventured off the marked path, his curiosity, a trait that had always been both his strength and his downfall, leading him deeper into the bush. A misstep triggered a small landslide, sending him tumbling into a shallow ravine. His satellite phone shattered against a rock, and his security team, unaware of his detour, lost his trail. Bruised but unbroken, Harry stumbled into a small encampment of locals who recognized him from news reports, but spoke little English. They offered him shelter in a mud-walled hut, a bowl of maize porridge, and a bed of woven grass. To them, he was not a prince, but a weary traveler in need. For 3 days, Harry lived among them, his world shrinking to the rhythm of village life. He met Amora, a grandmother whose husband had been killed by a landmine decades ago, her eyes carrying the weight of loss, but also a quiet strength. The #E was Joao, a boy no older than Archie, who dreamed of becoming a doctor to help his community. Harry listened to their stories, his heart heavy with the resilience. He taught Joao a few English words, hope, friend, future, and in return, the boy showed him how to weave grass into rope, their hands working side by side. In this village, Harry was neither royal nor rebel, he was just a man, finding purpose in the simplicity of connection. Meanwhile, the crisis escalated. The royal family #YS silence fueled wild theories. Harry had vanished to spite the monarchy, or Meghan's ambitions had driven him to this reckless miss #Sion. The #LO Trust's CEO, James Cohen, worked tirelessly with Angolan authorities, but the search yielded no clues. Helicopters swept the bush, their lots scanning for any sign of the prince. In Montecito, Meghan's composure began to crack, her nights spent staring at her phone, waiting for news. She kept Archie and Lilibet close, reading them stories to drown out the TV's endless speculation. On the 4th day, a Halo True #ST helicopter spotted a faint signal fire, its smoke hurling above the trees. Kofi, who'd refused to rest, led the rescue team to The ravine. Harry emerged, his clothes torn and his face streaked with dirt, but his smile was unmistakable. "Took you long enough," He said to Kofi, his voice thick with relief. The villagers gathered to wave him off, Joao clutching a woven bracelet they'd made together, a small token of their fleeting bond. The rescue was swift, and Harry was airlifted to Luanda, where Meghan arrived hours later. Their embrace, captured by a single photographer, became an iconic image of relief and love. Buckingham Palace issued a curt statement. "The Duke of Sussex has been evacuated and is safe. We thank the Angolan authorities and the Halo Trust for their efforts." Behind closed doors, Charles and William sent private messages, their words cautious, but tinged with relief. No public reconciliation followed, the royal family's wounds too deep to mend in a single crisis. The press spun the ordeal into a saga of heroism, recklessness, or betrayal, depending on the outlet. For Harry, it was something else, a moment of clarity in the chaos of his life. He returned to Montecito with a renewed vow to continue his work in Africa, not as a prince, but as a man shaped by love for Meghan and a continent that had become his refuge. The royal family resumed its uneasy dance, the crisis fading but the tensions lingering. In a small Angolan village, Joao wore his woven bracelet, dreaming of a day when the ground beneath his feet held no fear. And somewhere, in the quiet moments, Harry carried the memory of those 3 days, when he was simply